Good evening, everyone from the USA, all over the world. Long Island, aka Strong Island, plus the five spots of Brooklyn, Bronx, Manhattan, Staten Island, and Queens. I'm your man G Money Stacks, aka Lonely Nomad, aka the Gregonator, YouTuber, host with the most, and rookie podcaster of Queens, New York. And you are now tuning in and rocking with the review show Meticulous Vibe Juice podcast. The review show where we go over the music artists such as singers, rappers in terms of discography, in terms of um, the EPs, the albums, the singles, TV shows, movies, of course, games, and of course, in the near future, I will try to review some podcast shows that I've been listening to. Um, anyway, if you guys are new to the channel and a new listener, welcome. And you missed any previous episodes whatsoever, don't worry, I got your back. All you need to do is go grab the subscribe button at the Meticulous Vibe Juice Podcast YouTube channel page. Make sure you enable alerts by tapping the notification bell. Leave a like and a comment. Stay tuned for more video content, upcoming episodes, previous episodes, and of course, don't forget to download your favorite episodes. Don't forget to rate. Don't forget to share the videos along with the episodes on Anchor. Especially, don't forget to spread the word, and I'll go over the audio streaming platforms, including the newly added streaming platform that I just added today. So stick around for that one right there. Now, for those of you who may or may not know what's going on, um, I actually did something from my room, make it a little colorful and stuff like that. I recently brought the what it is. This is what you call a Rema LED strip light. I um actually did it myself. See if anybody likes it or whatever. Just trying to make it look like very colorful instead of staring at white paint all the time. You know what I'm saying? And and yeah, and right behind me is the light box that says live and direct. Yes, we are live and direct on StreamYard, YouTube, and of course, outside of me is Instagram Live, where you can see Meticulous Vibe Juice podcast on IGTV is where I'm recording from. Of course, make sure you turn on your notifications on the gram. Meticulous Vibe Juice podcast, excellent fun, vibrant podcast, off the meat rat chains, New York podcast, and my primary handle, G Money Stacks 555, for more updates and postings and stuff in terms of the episodes, and you know the rest. Um, and yeah, and how I'm feeling mentally, physically, and spiritually, you ask. Of course, I'm getting better actually. Now that I have now that I have some colorful stuff in my room, it makes it even more better, you know what I'm saying? Um yeah, so mentally I'm fine. Mentally I'm all right. Physically and spiritually I'm going to be in good spirits. So so it's all good, man. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, man. Um Anyway, today's episode is gonna be a little something different. We don't have any music artists to actually review today, but we do have we do have some movies in relations to Spider-Man. This is what this episode is dedicated to. It's dedicated to Spider-Man movies, including the recent one that came out, which is No Way Home, and of course the classic cartoon series. Um, let's get into that right now in a segment that I like to call the Chillax Man Cave Popcorn Lounge. All right. And you guys probably know what it is already. It's basically about um the reviews of the TV shows and the movies that we watch and love. All right. So that's pretty much what it is right there. Um so yeah. Yeah. And it's crazy though, man. I never thought that I would be unstoppable in terms of me having three podcast shows whatsoever that I'm really trying to push. And it's crazy, man. And a lot of there's some motherfuckers that's like gonna be jealous and shit, but you know, I don't really fucking care anymore. I really don't. I'm just doing me trying to build up my career and shit, man. That's all it is. And of course you get the jizz of this shit, man. You know what I mean? Um, yeah, you get the jizz of this shit. Um, yeah, so let's get to it. Okay. First movie that we gotta talk about is Spider-Man Homecoming, all right? Now, Spider-Man Homecoming is a 2017 American superhero film based on the Marvel Comics character Spider-Man, co-produced by Columbia Pictures and Marvel Studios and distributed by Sony Pictures Releasing. It is the second Spider-Man film reboot and the 16th film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe known as the MCU. The film was directed by John Watts from a screenplay by the writing teams of Jonathan Goldstein and John Francis Daly, Watts and Christopher Ford and Chris McKenna and Eric Summers. Tom Holland stars as Peter Parker and Spider-Man alongside with Michael Keaton, John Favreau, Gwyneth Paltrow, Zendaya, Donald Glover, Jacob Batalon, Laura Harrier, Tony Revolori, Bokeem Woodbine, Tin Dolly, Marissa Tomei, and Robert Downey Jr. In Spider-Man Homecoming, Peter Parker tries to balance high school life with being Spider-Man while facing the Vulture. Um, okay, so um, okay, in February 2015, Marvel Studios and Sony reached a deal to share the film rights for Spider-Man, integrating the character into the established MCU. The following June, Holland was cast as the title character and Watts was hired to direct. This was followed shortly by the hiring of Daly and Goldstein. In April 2016, the film's title was revealed along with additional cast, including Downey in his MCU role. Um, Hold on a second. No, we're not on mute, guys, so we're good. Um, so yeah, June 2016 at Pinewood Atlanta Studios in Fayette County, Georgia, and continued in Atlanta, Los Angeles, and New York City. The other screenwriters were revealed during filming, which concluded in Berlin in October 2016. The production team made efforts to differentiate the film from previous Spider Man films. Spider Man Homecoming premiered in Hollywood on June 28th, 2017, and was released in the United States on July 7th as part of Phase 3 of the MCU. Homecoming grossed over $880 million worldwide, becoming the second most successful Spider Man film and the sixth highest grossing film of 2017. Um, it received praise for the light tone and focus on um, Parker's high school life and the performances, particularly of Holland and Keaton. Two sequels have been released: Far From Home and Spider-Man No Way Home, which I will review next. Um, and a prequel Animated series Spider-Man Freshman Year is in development, as is a, as is a new trilogy of a live action films from Sony and Marvel Studios. Okay, so the reception, right? All right, we're gonna go to the reception right here, right? So Spider-Man Homecoming grossed over $334.2 million in the United States and Canada, and $546 million in other territories, for a worldwide total of 880.2 million. The film had the second biggest global IMAX opening for a Sony film with $18 million. In May 2017, a survey from Fandango indicated that Homecoming was the second most anticipated summer blockbuster behind Wonder Woman. By September 24th, 2017, the film had earned $874.4 million worldwide, becoming the highest grossing superhero film of 2017 and the sixth largest film based on a Marvel character. Deadline Hollywood calculated the film's net profit as $200.1 million, accounting for production budgets, marketing talents, participations, and other costs. Box office grosses and home media excuse me, revenues placed it seventh on their list of 2017's most valuable blockbusters. The film earned $50.9 million on its opening day in the United States and Canada, including 15.4 million from Thursday night previews, and had a total weekend gross of 117 million, the top film for the weekend. It was the second highest opening for both a Spider-Man film and a Sony film, after Spider-Man 3's 151.1 million debut in 2007. Early projections for the film from box office had it earning $135 million in its opening weekend, which was later adjusted to 125 million. And Deadline Hollywood noting industry projections at anywhere between 90 to 120 million dollars. Stay with me. I'm gonna take a drink. All right. Um. All right. Here we go. Um. Here we go. Here we go. Where was I? Where was I? Yes. Early projections for the film from box office had it earning 135 million in its opening weekend, which was later adjusted to 125 million. And Deadline Hollywood noting industry projections at anywhere between 90 to 120 million. In its second weekend, the film fell to second behind War for the Planet of the Apes, with $44.2 million, a 62% decline in earnings, which was similar to the declines The Amazing Spider-Man 2 and Spider-Man 3 had in their second weekends. Additionally, Homecoming's domestic gross reached $208.3 million, which surpassed the total domestic gross of The Amazing Spider-Man 2, $202.9 million. The film fell to third in its third weekend. By July 2026, Homecoming's domestic gross reached 262.1 million, surpassing the total domestic gross of The Amazing Spider-Man, 262 million, leading to a fifth place finish for its fourth weekend. The next weekend, Homecoming finished sixth and finished seventh the following 5 weekends. By September 3rd, 2017, the film had earned 325.1 million, surpassing the 325 million projected amount for its total domestic gross in its 11th weekend. Homecoming finished ninth. Outside of the United States and Canada, Spider-Man Homecoming earned 140.5 million its opening weekend from the 56 markets it opened in, with the film becoming number one in 50 of them. The 140.5 million was the highest opening ever for a Spider-Man film. South Korea had the highest Wednesday opening day gross, which contributed to a 25.4 million 5-day opening in the country, the third highest opening ever for a Hollywood film. Brazil had the largest July opening day of all time, with 2 million, leading to an opening um, weekend total of 8.9 million. The $7 million earned from IMAX showings was the top opening of all time for a Sony film internationally. In its second weekend, the film opened in France at number one and number two in Germany. It earned an additional $11.9 million in South Korea to bring its total in the country to 42.2 million. Excuse me. This made Homecoming the highest grossing Spider-Man film and the top grossing Hollywood film of 2017 in the country. Brazil contributed an additional 5.7 million for a total of 19.4 million from the country, which was also the largest gross from a Spider-Man film. The film's third weekend saw the Latin America region set a record as the highest grossing Spider-Man film of all time, with a region total of 77.4 million. Brazil remained the top grossing market for the region with 25.7 million. In South Korea, the film became the 10th highest grossing international release of all time. Homecoming opened at number one in Spain in its fourth weekend. In its sixth weekend, the film opened at number one in Japan with its 770,000 from IMAX, the fourth largest IMAX weekend for a Marvel film in the country. The film opened at number one in China on September 8th, 2017, grossing 23 million on its opening day, including Thursday previews, making it the third biggest opening day for a Marvel Cinematic Universe film, behind Avengers Age of Ultron and Captain America Civil War, the largest opening day gross for a Sony film in the country. Hold on. Stay with me. All right. Okay, where was I? Um yeah. Okay. The 70.8 million Homecoming earned in China for its opening weekend was the third largest opening behind Age of Ultron and Civil War, with $6 million from IMAX, which was the best IMAX opening weekend in September, and the best IMAX opening weekend for a Sony film. As for as of September 24th, 2017, the film's largest markets were China, 115.7 million, South Korea, 51.4 million, and the United Kingdom, $34.8 million. Okay, we go to the critical response. The review aggregator on Rotten Tomatoes reported an approval rating of 92% with an average score of 7.7 out of 10, based on 394 reviews. The website's critical consensus reads, in quote, Spider-Man Homecoming does whatever a second reboot can. Excuse me, delivering a colorful, fun adventure that fits snugly in the sprawling MCU without getting bogged down in franchise building. Metacritic, which uses a weighted average, assigned the film a score of 73 out of 100, based on 51 critics, indicating generally favorable reviews. Audiences polled by Cinema Score gave the film an average grade of A on an A plus to F scale, while Pulse Track reported filmgoers gave it an 89% overall positive score and a 74% definite recommend. Okay. We got Sarah Stewart. Hold on a second. Sarah Stewart of the New York Post praised the film as an endearing, awkward kid brother to the glamorous Wonder Woman, attributing much of the heavy lifting to Holland's performance and the the perfectly cast Keaton. She also noted Watts' focus on Parker's human side. Mike Ryan at Uprocks felt Homecoming was the best Spider-Man film yet, specifically praising the light tone, younger and more optimistic portrayal of Peter Parker. And Keaton's performance, Ryan named the Vulture twist reveal as one of his favorite scenes in the MCU. He said Homecoming is the kind of movie you leave and you are just in the best mood and still will be days later. Richard Roper of the Chicago Sun-Times called the film unique and refreshing, praising its lower stakes and focus on the character's school life. He praised Holland as terrific and well cast, as well as the other cast members. Roper believed that Keaton's performance is more interesting than the character otherwise could have been. Owen Gleiberman of Variety felt the film was just distinctive enough from the previous Spider-Man films to become a sizable hit, and highlighted its focus on making Peter Parker a realistically youthful and grounded character. He found Holland to be likable in the role and thought the Vulture twist was a positive direction for that character. He did criticize the vague take on Spider-Man's origin and powers, but the flying action has a casual flip. Um, Buell, Buell, um, Buell Yancey, yeah, Buell Yancey, and the movie does get you rooted for Peter. At IndieWire, David Ehrlich criticized the film's superhero genre cliches and underwritten female characters, but praised the elements of the film that leaned into Parker's high school life and humanity of the Vulture. Stay with me. All right. Where was I? Um, wait. Okay. Kenneth Turbin of the Los Angeles Times gave the film a mixed review, criticizing the juvenile depiction of no, Peter Parker and Watts' unevenly orchestrated direction, but feeling that the film finds its pace and rhythm by the end. Excuse me. And praising Keaton's performance. The Hollywood Reporter's John DeFore found the film to be occasionally exciting but often frustrating, and suggested it might have worked better if less focus had been put on integrating the film with the MCU. DeFore did praise Holland's performance as winning despite the script and calls Zendaya a scene stealer. Mick LaSalle, writing for the San Francisco Chronicle, said the film was a pretty good Spider-Man move that breaks no new ground, not exploring the human side of the character enough and instead focusing on the action that is not thrilling. At the Telegraph, Robbie Collin argued that a little of the new Spider-Man went an exhilaratingly long way in Captain America's Civil War last year, but lot of the film, a lot of him goes almost nowhere in this slack and spiritless solo escapade. Colin criticized Watt's direction, but was positive of the cast, including Holland, Keaton, Tomei, and Zendaya. All right, so we're gonna go to the Teen Choice Awards. Of course, breakout choice, breakout star, um, recipients. Of course, Tom Holland, Zendaya, both got nominations. Um, choice summer movie, choice summer movie actor, choice summer movie actress. Um, Spider-Man Homecoming, Tom Holland and Zendaya all won that one. The Washington D.C. Film Critics Awards, the Joe Barber Award for Best Portrayal of Washington D.C. Spider-Man got the nomination, and of course, Kids' Choice Awards favorite movie, Spider-Man Homecoming, also got a nomination. Favorite movie actress Zendaya won that one. Saturn Awards. I still haven't heard of that shit though, man. Anyway, man. Best Supporting Actor in the Film. Michael Keaton also got a nomination. Best performance by a younger actor in a film. Tom Holland won that one. Zendaya got a nomination. Um, so So the next movie we're gonna go over is Far From Home, which I actually saw on TV. Okay, here we go. Spider-Man Far From Home is a 2019 American superhero film based on the Marvel Comics character Spider-Man, co-produced by Columbia Pictures and Marvel Studios and distributed by Sony Pictures Releasing. It is the sequel to Spider-Man Homecoming 2017 and the 23rd film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which is the MCU. The film was directed by John Watts, written by Chris McKenna and Eric Sommers, and stars Tom Holland as Peter Parker, Spider-Man, alongside Samuel Jackson, Zendaya, Kobe Smulders, John Favreau, J.B. Smoove, Jacob Batalon, Martin Starr, Marissa Tomei, and Jake Gyllenhaal. In the film, Parker is recruited by Nick Fury and Mysterio to face the Elementals while he is on a school trip to Europe. Oh boy. Um. Anyway, so of course, discussions for the sequel to Spider-Man Homecoming began by October 2016, and the project was confirmed later that year. Holland, Watts, and the writers were all set to return by the end of 2017. In 2018, Jackson and Gyllenhaal joined the cast as Fury and Mysterio, respectively. Holland revealed that the sequel's title ahead of filming, which began that July and took place in England. The Czech Republic, Italy, and the New York metropolitan area. Production wrapped in October 2018. The marketing campaign was the most expensive for a film ever, an attempt to avoid revealing spoilers for Avengers Endgame prior to its April 2019 release. Spider-Man Far From Home premiered at the TCL Chinese Theater on June 26, 2019, and was theatrically released in the United States on July 2nd as the last film in Phase 3 of the MCU. The film received positive reviews with praise for its humor, action, sequences, visual effects, and the performance of Holland and Gyllenhaal. It grossed over $1.1 billion worldwide, making it the first Spider-Man film to pass the billion-dollar mark and fourth highest grossing film of 2019 and became Sony Pictures' highest grossing film and the 24th highest grossing film of all time. Of course, the a sequel, Spider-Man No Way Home, was released in December 2021, which was last year. I'll get to that in a second. Um, okay, reception. Um, so the box office, um, Spider-Man Far From Home grossed $390.5 million in the United States and Canada, and $741.3 million in other territories, for a worldwide total of $1.131 billion. It was the fourth highest grossing film of 2019 and the 24th highest grossing film of all time. On August 18th, 2019, the film surpassed Skyfall to become Sony Pictures' highest grossing film worldwide. Far From Home was the first Spider-Man film to gross over 1 billion. Deadline Hollywood calculated the film's net profit as 339 million, accounting for production budgets, marketing, talent participations, and other costs. Box office grosses and home media revenues placed it seventh on their list of 2019's most valuable blockbusters. Um, 3 weeks before its domestic release, um, official industry tracking had the film grossing around 170 million over its 6 day opening frame. Some had the film reaching as high as 200 million, while others were at a conservative $165 million. Sony was predicting a 154 million debut. By the week of release, industry and estimates lowered at 140 million, with the studio expecting 120 million due to the recent underperformance of this other sequels. Playing in 4,634 theaters, Far From Home made a Tuesday opening record $39.3 million, including an estimated 2.83 million from midnight previews at about 1,000 theaters. It then made 27 million on its second day, the best ever Wednesday gross for an MCU film, and 25.1 million on the 4th of July. The second highest ever total for the holiday behind Transformers. Of course, 29 million in 2007. In its opening weekend, the film made 92.6 million and a total of 185.1 million over the 6 day frame, topping the 180 million made by Spider-Man 2 over its 6 day July 4th opening in 2004. In its second weekend, the film made 45.3 million, again topping the box office with a 51% decrease from the first week, lower than Homecoming's 62% drop in its second box office weekend. Far From Home grossed over 21 million in its third weekend, but was dethroned by newcomer The Lion King. Far From Home was projected to gross around 300 million worldwide by the end of its first week of release, and about 500 million over its first 10 days. In China and Japan, where it was released a week prior to its US debut, the film was expected to gross around a combined 90 million in its opening weekend, In China, where pre-sale tickets were less than Homecoming's, the film made 35.5 million on its first day, including 3.4 million from midnight previews. It ended up slightly overperforming, debuting to 111 million dollars, including 98 million in China, the fourth best ever superhero opening in the country. Far From Home ended up grossing 580.1 million worldwide over its first 10 days of release, including 238 million from international territories in its opening weekend. Um, what else? Yes, in China, uh, the film had a 10-day total of 167.4 million, and its other biggest debuts were South Korea, 33.8 million, the United Kingdom, 17.8 million, Mexico, 13.9 million, and Australia, $11.9 million. Yes, we go to the critical response right here. The The review aggregator Rotten Tomatoes reported an approval rating of 90% of an average score of 7.4 out of 10, based on 453 reviews. The website's critics' consensus reads, in quote, a breezily unpredictable blend of teen romance and superhero action. Spider-Man Far From Home stylishly sets the stage for the next era of the MCU. Metacritic, which uses a weighted average, assigned the film a score of 69 out of 100, based on reviews from 55 critics, indicating generally favorable reviews. Audiences polled by Cinema Score gave the film an average grade of A on an A plus to F scale, while those post track gave it a 90% overall positive score and a 76% definitive recommend. Owen Gleiberman of Variety praised Holland's performance and wrote, in quote, by the end, this Spider-Man really does find his tingle, yet coming after Into the Spider-Verse, with its swirling psychedelic imagery and identity games and trapdoors of perception, Spider-Man Far From Home touches all the bases of a conventional Marvel movie. It doesn't take you out of this world, but it's good enough to summon the kick or maybe just the illusion of consequence. Writing for the Chicago Sun-Times, Richard Roper gave the film 3 out of 4 stars, calling it zesty, sweet, and satisfying, and praised the performance of the cast. Bernard Boo of Pop Matters praised the film, commenting, Spider Man Far From Home is technically the final film in Phase 3 of the MCU, and it's hard to think of a better way to send off the most successful run of one of the highest grossing franchises in history. Alonzo Durald of The Rap said that the film feels like a charming teen road trip comedy that occasionally turns into a superhero movie, which he said was a compliment. He highlighted the cast, including the chemistry between Holland, Zendaya, and Batalin, and said that Gyllenhaal nails his character's earnestness, but also clearly enjoys a few moments that let him channel every exasperated sigh. I just want to get this right male diva director he's ever known. Writing for IndieWire, David Ehrlich gave the film a grade of C, and despite complimenting the cast, called the film an unadventurous bit of superhero housekeeping that only exists to clean up the mess that Avengers Endgame left behind. He criticized the character development of Spider-Man, feeling that he does not change um, throughout the film beyond becoming more confident. He describes the action as plastic. Whoa, plastic, yo. Oh shit, that's fucking insane, man. Plastic? Come on, man. And felt that the film did not give enough attention to its teen elements. Early said it might be enough to satisfy fans, but called it a failure when compared to the remarkable artistry of Into the Spider-Verse or the raw pathos of Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2. John Anderson of the Wall Street Journal praised Holland and Zendaya's performance, but described the film as a visually incoherent, effects heavy superhero movie and called dialogue dire. All right, so we're going to go to the accolades. Teen Choice Awards. Um, so Choice Summer Movie, Choice Summer Movie Actor, Choice Summer Movie Actress. Spider-Man Far From Home, Tom Holland and Zendaya, all won that one. And of course, the nomination for Best Comic to Film Motion Picture, Spider-Man Far From Home. Saturn Awards, Best Supporting Actress, Zendaya. Best Performance by a Younger Actor, Tom Holland. Both won that one. Best Special Effects, Spider-Man Far From Home got the nomination. And it got the nomination again. And Tom Holland also got the nomination. So, People Choice Awards. Um, Male Movie Star of 2019, of course, Tom Holland again. Female Movie Star of 2019, Zendaya, Tom Holland, both won. Both won, actually. For Female Movie Star of 2019 and Action Movie Star of 2019. Hollywood Professional Association, Outstanding Visual Effects Feature Film. Of course, Alexis Alexis Wajbrat Stephen Kennedy, um, Nathan McConnell, Sylvan DeGroit, and Jonathan Obgen Haffen. Um, Best Feature Film, Best Actor, um, and of course, Spider-Man Far From Home, Tom Holland, all got nominations. National Film and TV Awards, Best Supporting Actress, Best Supporting Actor. Supporting Actress is Zendaya, got a nomination. JB Smoove won that one. And the AACTA Awards, never heard of it. Best Visual Effects on Animation, Brandon Seals, Michael Perdue, Andrew Zink, and Adam Gailey all won that award. Hollywood Critics Association, Hollywood Critics Association Awards. Best Blockbuster, Best Movie Critics Choice Award, um, Visual Effects Society Awards, Outstanding Effects Simulations, and Photoreal Feature. Um, of course, um, Spider-Man Far From Home, Adam Gailey, Jacob Santamaria, Jacob Clark, Stephanie Moak. Favorite movie, Spider-Man Far From Home, Tom Holland, Zendaya, all got nominations. And favorite superhero, Tom Holland, won that one. All right. Yeah, give me a second. As I take a drink. Sorry about that. Okay. So, a recent movie that just came out in December is Spider-Man No Way Home. Spider-Man No Way Home is a 2021 American superhero film based on the Marvel Comics character Spider-Man, co-produced by Columbia Pictures and Marvel Studios and distributed by Sony Pictures Releasing. It is the sequel to Spider-Man Homecoming and Spider-Man Far From Home, and the 27th film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe known as the MCU. Um, the film was directed by John Watts and written by Chris McKenna and Eric Summers. It stars Tom Holland as Peter Parker, Spider Man, alongside Zendaya, um, Benedict Cumberbatch, um, Jacob Batalon, John Favreau, Jamie Foxx, William Defoe, Alfred Molina, Benedict Wong, Tony Revolori, um, Marissa Tomei, Andrew Garfield, and Tony Maguire. The, in the film, Parker asked Doctor Stephen Strange to use magic to make his Spider-Man identity a secret again, following its public revelation at the end of Far From Home. When the spell goes wrong, the multiverse is broken open, which allows visitors from alternate realities to enter Parker's universe. Um, yeah. So a third MCU Spider-Man film was planned during the production of Homecoming in 2017. Negotiations between Sony and Marvel Studios to alter their deal, in which they produced the Spider-Man films together, ended with Marvel Studios leaving the project in August 2019. But a negative fan reaction led to a new deal between the companies a month later. Watts, McKenna, Summers, and Holland were set to return, and filming took place from October 2020 to March 2021 in New York City and Atlanta. No Way Home features several actors reprising their roles from the earlier non MCU Spider Man films that were directed by Sam Raimi and Mark Webb. Um, the return of previous Spider-Man actors Maguire and Garfield was the subject of the wide speculation and numerous leaks, despite the efforts of Sony, Marvel, and the cast to conceal their involvement. Spider-Man No Way Home premiered at the Fox Village Theater in Los Angeles on December 13th, 2021, and was theatrically released in the United States on December 17th as part of Phase 4 of the MCU. The film received positive reviews from critics who praised the story, direction, action sequences, and the cast performances and chemistry. No Way Home has grossed over $1.5 billion released by Sony Pictures. Yes, it became the highest grossing film of 2021, the eighth highest grossing film of all time, and set several box office records, including those four films released during the COVID-19 pandemic, aka the Slamdemic. A sequel is currently in development already. Sheesh. That's a big win, man. That's definitely a big win, though, man. You know what I mean? So box office as of January 10th, 2022, No Way Home has grossed 670.8 million in the United States and Canada and 867.5 million in other territories for a worldwide total of 1.558 billion dollars. It is the highest grossing film of 2021, the eighth highest grossing film of all time, the sixth highest grossing film in the United States and Canada, the highest grossing Spider Man film, and the highest grossing film released by Sony. No Way Home is also the first film since Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker 2019 to gross over 1 billion, becoming the third fastest to reach that milestone and the first to do so during the COVID-19 slamdemic. It surpassed Jumanji: Welcome to the Jungle to become Sony Pictures' highest grossing film in North America. Deadline Hollywood estimated the film's final net profit to be $610 million, accounting for production budgets, marketing, talent participations, and other costs versus box office grosses and home media revenues. Of course, in the United States and Canada, Spider-Man No Way Home earned $121.85 million. And on its opening day, becoming the second highest opening film after Avengers Endgame, which was 157.4 million, and the highest opening film for a December release. In its opening weekend, the film grossed 260 million, surpassing Avengers Infinity War 257.7 million to become the highest domestic box office opening of all time. As of January 9th, 2022, an estimated 54.4 million people have seen Spider-Man No Way Home in theaters in the United States and Canada. The film earned 43.6 million from 15 markets on its opening day, with Sony holding the best opening day record in South Korea, the United Kingdom, Mexico, Italy, and Taiwan. In South Korea, the film grossed 5.28 million on its opening day, thereby beating Spider-Man Far From Home's opening day in the country by over 11%, and the biggest day one figure for any film during the slamdemic. In the United Kingdom, the film beat No Time to Die's opening box office record at 7.6 million dollars, $10.1 million dollars. And in India, the film's box office on its opening day was 32 crore, whatever that shit is. US 4.2 million to um 34.50 crore, whatever that is. US 4.6 million being Endgame, and the Indian film um Suryavanshi 2021. I don't know what that is. Don't ask. In its 5-day opening weekend, the film grossed 340.8 from 60 markets. As of January 10th, 2022, the film's largest markets are the United Kingdom, 105.8 million, Mexico, 64.9 million, South Korea, 55.8 million, France, 55.2 million, Australia, 47.9 million, Brazil, 46.9 million, Russia, 41.4 million, Germany, 36.7 million, India, 35.3 million, and Spain, $25.7 million. Okay. Pre-sale ticket records. Tickets went on sale the midnight of November 29th, 2021, with several ticket websites such as Fandango and AMC Theaters crashing due to the high influx of users attempting to purchase tickets. Ticket sales on Fandango surpassed those for Black Widow in just 2 hours. And by the end of the day, it became the best first day advance ticket sales since Endgame, while also surpassing the 24-hour ticket sales of Avengers Infinity War, Star Wars The Last Jedi, Spider-Man Far From Home, Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker, and Rogue One. No Way Home had second highest one-day ticket sales on AMC, with CEO Adam Aron attributing this to Spider-Man themed non-fungible tokens. I don't even know what the fucking NFTs are, so I'm not even sure what that shit. So I'm not too sure what that is and how that shit works. So um anyway, the film also set records in Mexico with 7 million in the first day ticket sale, which was 40% above Endgame. In the United Kingdom, the film outsold No Time to Die 3 times in the same 12-day span before their release, while Brazil's ticket sale was 5% above Endgame at the same point. The film also passed the pre-sale records of The Rise of Skywalker in Poland and No Time to Die in Portugal. Other markets with the best pre-sale records including including Spain, Brazil, and Central America. Critical response. The review aggregator website Rotten Tomatoes reported an approval rating of 93% with an average score of 7.9 out of 10, based on 374 reviews. The site's critical consensus reads, in quote, a bigger, bolder Spider-Man sequel, No Way Home expands the franchise's scope and stakes without losing sight of its humor and heart. On Metacritic, the film has a weighted average score of 71 out of 100 based on 59 reviews, indicating generally favorable reviews. Audiences polled by CinemaScore gave the film a A plus grade on an A plus to F scale. The first live action Spider Man film and the fourth MCU film overall to earn the score after The Avengers, Black Panther, and Avengers Endgame. Post track reported 95% of audience members gave it a positive score, with 89% saying they would definitely recommend it. Um, Amelia Amberwing of IGN gave the film 8 out of 10, saying that its impact on the universe as a whole, as well as the overall emotional beats, all feel earned, while praising the performances of Defoe, Molina, and Fox. Pete Hammond of Deadline Hollywood praised Watts' direction and wrote, Holland, Zendaya, and Batalon are a priceless trio. And the various villains and others who pop in and out make this pure movie fun of the highest order. Fans will be in heaven. Peter DeBruge of Variety praised Garfield's and McGuire's performances and felt the film provides enough resolutions for the past 2 decades of Spider-Man adventures that audiences who tuned out along the way will be rewarded um, for giving this one a shot. Writing for Den of Deep, Don Kay gave the film 4 out of 5 stars for its action sequences, performances, and chemistry of the cast, stating that No Way Home channels the entire spectrum of Spider-Man movies while setting the character on a course all his own at last. Jennifer Bissett of CNET praised the action sequences, performances, and story writing. Russo brothers' influence can almost be felt ushering Holland's third Spider-Man movie into new, weightier, where territory. If the character is to become the next Tony Stark, this is the way to each um, a few more scars into a more interesting hero's facade. If you came across, if you came for the biggest movie of the year, you will definitely leave satisfied. Of course, Kevin Maurer, not to be confused with Bill Maher, um, of Times, gave the film 4 out of 5 stars, saying that it was as satisfying to watch as it is um, perilous to discuss, and described it as a dynamite blast of smarty pants post modernism that never once abandons its emotional core. Benjamin Lee of The Guardian gave the film 3 out of 5 stars, praising Watts for bringing back numerous baddies from the previous Spider-Man universes, um, delivering a propulsive, slickly choreographed adventure that will appease a broad fan base this Christmas. But feeling that the script lacks the expected fizz, that sense of shaggy fun, struggling to break through a more robotic plot. Kate Erblin of IndieWire gave the film a B minus, feeling that Watts's work was satisfying, emotional, and occasionally unsteady. She found that the script spent far too long dwelling on the machinations of people and plans we already know, throwing in some awkward misdirection and simply delaying the inevitable. The Hollywood Reporter's John Defoe felt that the inclusion of multiversal mayhem addressed the Iron Man Iron Man magnification of the character that made Hollywood-centric films least fun. Hmm. I don't know why you would say that. Um. Anyway, CNN's Brian Lowry praised the humor and wrote what already apparent though is that this movie was conceived to be savored and enjoyed. Stay with me. I will be right back. Sorry about that, folks. I had to use the bathroom real quick. Um. Anyway, where was I? Okay. Okay. Wait. Where was I? Um. Wait. No, that's not. Okay. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Oh, okay. Okay. I know where I left off. All right. Yes. Um, at least fun. Um. All right. CNN's Brian Lowry praised the humor and wrote, "What's already apparent, though, it is that this movie was conceived to be savored and enjoyed, and in what has become an increasingly elusive phenomenon that will include whoops and hollers from appreciative fans in theaters, where Spider-Man will reveal its secrets and then more than likely shows off its legs." Richard Roper of Chicago Sun-Times gave the film 3 out of 4 and praised the performances of Holland and Zendaya, writing in quote, "There is nothing new or particularly memorable about the serviceable CGI and practical effects, but we remain invested in the outcome in large part because Holland remains the best of the cinematic Spider-Man, while Zendaya lends heart and smarts and warmth to every moment she's on screen. We continue to root for these two to make it and um anyway and to make it even if the multiverse isn't always on their side. In contrast, um 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 no, not Blige, Bilge um Ebery, a Vulture, called the film aggressively mediocre. I don't really agree with that one right there. Um, but praised the foe, whom he said once again gets to have some modest fun, excuse me, with his character's devised self, and Garfield calling him a genuine delight, and naming his the film's best performance. Okay, so we go to the accolades. Austin Film Critics Association, January 11th, 2022. Best stunts. Everything is pending right now. And of course, George Film Critics Association, Houston Film Critics Society, San Diego Film Critics Society, nominate got a nomination. This is it hasn't got any results yet, so it's still pending. So that's gonna be a wait and see. Let's see. Oh boy. And of course, by August 2019, a fourth film in the franchise was in development alongside No Way Home. In February 2021, Holland said No Way Home was the final film under his contract, but he hoped to continue playing Spider Man in the future if asked. That October, Holland said No Way Home was being treated as the end of a franchise that began with Homecoming, with any additional solo films featuring the MCU Spider Man characters to be different from the first trilogy of films and feature a tonal change. A month later, Holland said he was unsure if he should continue making Spider Man films and felt he would have done something wrong if he was still portraying the character in the 30s. He expressed interest in a film focusing on the Miles Morales version of Spider Man instead. Despite this, producer Amy Pascal hoped to continue working with Holland on future Spider-Man films. Later in November, Pascal said there were plans for another trilogy of Spider-Man films starring Holland, with work on the first of those about to begin, though Sony did not yet have official plans for further MCU Spider-Man films. Foggy confirmed in December that he and Pascal, along with Sony and Disney, were actively beginning to develop the story for the next Spider-Man film, following Parker's momentous decision in No Way Home, and promised that the partnership between Sony and Disney would not break down again as it did during the development of No Way Home. Okay. Okay, and there you have it right there, man. And now we're gonna go over the TV series of Spider-Man actually. And I remember watching this when it was on Fox 5, the cartoon version. So Spider-Man, also known as Spider-Man the Animated Series, is an American superhero animated television series based on the Marvel Comics superhero of the same name. The series aired on the Fox Kids network from November 19th, 1994 to January 31st, 1998 for a total of 5 seasons compri- comprising 65 extra episodes. Yes, 65 episodes, and ran reruns on Toon Disney's Jetix block or and on Disney XD. The series was produced by Marvel Films Animation. Um, and of course, the voice actors are Christopher Daniel Barnes, Jennifer Hale, Saratoga Ballantyne. Not to be confused with Valentine, man. Ed Asner, Rodney Salisbury, Linda Gary, Julie Bennett, Gary Emhoff, Neil Ross, Roscoe Lee Brown, um, Ephraim Zimbalist Jr., Hank Azaria, and Mark Hamill. Um, I'm not gonna go with the synopsis, man. So reception. Spider-Man was both highly acclaimed and commercially successful, receiving wide critical praise for the faithfulness to the source material, the portrayal of many different classic storylines from the comics, the deep focus on the um, titular hero's personal life, motivations and struggles, and the layered character work, along with the presentation of Spider-Man's rogue gallery. It also garnered exceptionally high ratings for a Saturday morning cartoon, and shortly after the premiere, became the largest rated and most popular children's television show in America. Fans have praised the series as being the best adaptation of Spider Man to date. Its cancellation after 65 episodes was due to disagreements between executive producer Evid Arad and network head Margaret Loesch that forced the show to be canceled. Of course, awards. Writer producer John Sempter Jr. was nominated for an Annie Award in 1995 for Best Individual Achievement for writing in the field of animation for the episode Day of the Chameleon. Spider Man was also nominated for one 1996 Image Award for Outstanding Animated Live Action Dramatic Youth or Children's Series Special. Um, Hang on a second. Um, let's see. Of course, it's crazy, man. It's been a long time since I actually seen that cartoon of Spider-Man that came out in the '90s. Um, this is pretty interesting. So I'm like, you know what? Let's just review this. Anyway, so we are gonna okay. I'm not even gonna really well anyway, since I'm already on merchandising, let's just go over that one. All right, three comic book series based on the TV series were produced. Spider-Man Adventures, December 1994 to February 1996. The first 13 issues each adapted one episode from the first season, and the last two issues were original stories. Spider-Man Adventures numbers 1 through 4 was later reprinted in Kellogg's Fruit Loops mini comics number 1 through 4. Adventures of Spider-Man, April 1996 to March 1997, featuring new stories based on the series. Adventures of Spider-Man was later reprinted in Spectacular Spider-Man UK magazine numbers 11 through 21 from August 1996 to May 1997. Marvel Adventures April 1997 to September 1998. Anth- Anthology um, featuring various animated versions of Marvel characters. Spider-Man only appeared sporadically. A number a number of video games based on the series were also produced. Spider-Man Cartoon Maker for the PC, Spider-Man animated series for the Nintendo Super NES and Genesis. Electronic versions of classic Spider-Man comics were released by Marvel that included narration by Christopher Daniel Barnes and featured animation and theme music from the series. Spider-Man novels inspired by selected episodes were also released. Um, a wide variety of themed merchandise, of course, lunchboxes, cereals, clothing, etc., was produced. McDonald's produced a themed line of Happy Meal toys for the show. However, this paled in comparison to the extensive official toy line that ran over 8 series and included a staggering amount of play sets and vehicles and actually lasted longer than the television series itself. Release availability, despite the fact that the show ended in 1998, the success of the live action Spider Man films have sparked more interest in new fans, allowing the series to air in reruns due to its new owners, Walt Disney Company. The show became available for streaming in its entirety on the Disney Plus service on November 12th, 2019. The show was temporarily taken off Disney Plus on April 26, 2021, but it returned to the service on the 2nd of May that same year. Wow. 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 Um, okay. I think I'm going to go to the next one actually. Okay, we're gonna go to the next one. And this is another one that came out in the 90s too, man. The Spectacular Spider-Man, of course. One of my favorites. Um, the Spectacular Spider-Man is an American superhero animated television series based on the Marvel Comics character Spider-Man and developed for television by Greg Weisman and Victor Cook. In terms of overall tone and style, the series is based principally on the Stan Lee, Steve Ditko, and John Romita Sr. era of the Amazing Spider-Man comics, with a similar balance of action, drama, and comedy, as well as a high school setting. However, it also tends to blend material from all eras of the comics run and other sources, such as Ultimate Spider-Man comics by Brian Michael Bendis and Mark Bagley, and Sam Raimi's Spider-Man film series. Hold on. Yeah, sorry about that. Okay, where was I? Oh yeah. Um, yeah. However, it yeah yeah. However, it also tends to blend material from all eras of the comics run and other sources such as the Ultimate Spider-Man comics by Brian Michael Bendis and Mark Bagley and Sam Raimi's Spider-Man film service series. Okay, and this is the voices of Josh Keaton, not to be confused with Michael Keaton. Um, Benjamin Diskin, James Arnold Taylor, Lacey Chabert, Alana Eubank, Kevin Michael Richardson, Darren Norris, Vanessa Marshall, Steve Blum, Joshua LeBar, Andrew Cascino, Clancy Brown, Alan Rich Ratchins, Jeff Bennett, Phil Lamar, Thomas F. Wilson, Kath Susi, Jim Cummings, D. Brady Baker, Keith David, Jane Lynch, John DiMaggio, Bill Fager Bake, Kelly Hu, Tom Adcox Hernandez, and Cree Summer from A Different World. Of course, the Spectacular Spider-Man premiered on March 8th, 2008, during the Kids WB programming block of the CW. The series aired its second season on Marvel's sister network Disney XD in the United States and ended its run on November 18th, 2009. The entire series was broadcast in Canada on Teletoon. Although a total of 5 seasons was initially intended in addition to various direct-to-video films connecting each season. The series was canceled before production could begin on the planned third season due to legal problems between Disney, who had entered an agreement to acquire Marvel during the show's run, and Sony Pictures Television, primary production studio for the series, who had re- relinquished the rights to produce television content under 45 minutes using Spider-Man and associated characters ahead of their acquisition, while retaining all production and distribution rights to the series. The series received widespread acclaim from both critics and fans, with praise aimed being aimed rather at the exploration of surprisingly mature themes, the faithful portrayal of the um, t- to, excuse me um titular protagonists and supporting characters, along with the vocal performances from the cast, the unique character designs and art style, and the use of clever writing while paying homage to classic stories from the comics. IGN named the Spectacular Spider-Man number 30th in the top 100 best animated TV shows in January 20 no, excuse me, 2009. The series was also awarded best animated series in both 2008 and 2009, with the series version of the main character being named TV's best hero in 2008. Subsequently, it was placed second in the top 25 comic book TV shows in 2011, behind Batman the Animated Series. The TV Guide listed the series as one of the 60 greatest animated series of all time. Um, Hold on a minute. So Greg Wiseman was hoping for the series to reach 5 seasons, consisting of 65 episodes in total. Only 2 seasons and 26 episodes of the Spectacular Spider-Man were produced. The series stopped production with a renewal dependent upon the ratings for season 2 on the US Disney XD channel and the sales of the DVDs. On September 1st, 2009, it was announced that the television rights for Spider-Man were returned to Marvel by Sony. At the time, President of Marvel Animation Eric Roman further stated that no decisions have been made either way regarding the fate of this series. On April 13th, 2010, Newsarama reported that the series cancellation occurred just after the Walt Disney Company acquired Marvel Entertainment in December 2009. On that same day, Marvel announced that a new series loosely based on the Ultimate Spider-Man comic book storyline would air on Disney XD in the fall of 2011, which actually aired on April 1st, 2012. Wiseman told IGN, and quote, I've heard nothing directly from Marvel, but I think the Ultimate Spider-Man announcement makes it fairly clear that the Spectacular Spider-Man is over. Marvel Animation and Sony also commented on this to Marvel Animation Age, confirming that the series had ceased production. Um, Wiseman would later write that in summer 2009, in exchange for concessions um, on movie rights, of course. Yeah, movie rights. Um, yeah, movie rights. Uh, yeah, movie rights. Sony had relinquished to Marvel its license to produce television works that use Spider-Man and associated characters, but had retained ownership of the Spectacular Spider-Man series and all of the production elements created specifically for it, such as character designs and storylines. Wiseman claimed that Sony's decision to return the license to Marvel had occurred just prior to that year's San Diego Comic Con, and that he and supervising director Victor Cook were only made aware of this development just as the Walt Disney Company announced their intentions to buy Marvel Entertainment in its entirely entirety, thereby receiving the license to produce Spider-Man content for television. Therefore, neither Sony nor Marvel could continue production of the series, as each lacked some of the essential rights to do so. Um, that's crazy, man. Yeah, that's really crazy and a little fucked up in a way. Um, yeah, let's all right, all right. Anyway, um, so we're gonna do it like this, man. Let's see. Where was I? So wait, where was I? Oh yeah. Disney would eventually finalize their acquisition of Marvel and all related assets in December 2009, just after the second season concluded airing on Disney XD, Marvel's new sister network. Due to the show's cancellation, many storylines were abandoned. In season 3, Kurt would have moved in Florida and began working on a cure for Electro, and a planned DVD Spring Break movie would have also been set in Florida between seasons 2 and 3, as well as movies between season 3 and 4 and between season 4 and 5. Scorpio, Hydra Man. Hold on. Yes, Hydra Man and Hobgoblin were confirmed to be major villains for season 3. In addition to Carnage, Mr. Negative, and Morbius, the living vampire, Greg Wiseman also indicated that they had long term plans regarding the introduction of Miles Warren, um, a character who eventually becomes the Jackal in the comics, as well as Stan Carter and Jean DeWolf, who are both pivotal to the origin of the former becoming the vigilante Sin Eater. There were also plans to eventually see more elements of the Spider Man mythos from the comics in the show beyond season 2, including the introduction of the Spider-Mobile and Spider Tracers, as well as a future episode exploring how Peter developed his web shooters. Season 3 was also meant to introduce a new storyline involving Eddie Brock being placed in the um, Ravencroft Institute, as well as reviewed that the gene cleanser Peter used on the Venom symbiote in season 2 didn't actually affect it. Wiseman also expressed his wish to use other characters from the wider Marvel universe that weren't solely associated with Spider-Man as the series had done up to that point, such as Beast, Cyclops, Professor X, Captain America, and the Hulk. The Hulk and Johnny Storm. Wiseman elaborated by stating he hoped the introduction of said characters in the continuality of the Spectacular Spider-Man would have eventually resulted in spin-off shows focusing on the superhero teams these characters are associated with, the X-Men, Avengers, and Fantastic Four, respectively. Furthermore, plans for a musical theme episode and an episode adapting issue number 8 of the Amazing Spider-Man, involving an after-school boxing match between Peter and Flash Thompson. Shit, where were also abandoned. After the initial 65 episode series plan and movies, which would have covered the character's entire duration in high school, Wiseman had wished to produce DVD sequels covering Peter's college years and his eventual marriage to Mary Jane. Despite the legal troubles between Sony and Marvel, fans have continued to voice their support for the series more than a decade after its cancellation, and the hopes for more episodes to be produced someday. An online petition on change.org requesting for a possible third season has managed to gather more than 20,000 signatures. On January 9th, 2021 at 4 p.m., the hashtags Save Spectacular Spider-Man and Spectacular Spider-Man um, were trending on Twitter, um, with the former temporary trending between number 13 and number 9 within the site. After users created a tweet storm requesting for the series to return and finish being produced. Josh Keaton, who voices Peter Parker in the show, also responded to the trending hashtags while wearing a Spider-Man mask and staying in character, saying, "I just wanted to shout out some support to everyone tweeting today with hashtag Save Spectacular Spider-Man. This much support after over a decade. You guys really know how to make a webhead feel special." All right. Um, hold on a minute. Let me see how much time I have. All right. Um, all right. We're gonna go to reception. This is the last one actually. The reception, the Spectacular Spider-Man was released to widespread acclaim, with praise being aimed at the exploration of surprisingly mature themes, the faithful portrayal of the titular protagonists and supporting characters, along with the vocal voices from the cast, the unique character designs and art style. and the use of clever writing while paying homage to classic stories from the comics. Before the series premiered, Matt Semiker of Comics Online interviewed some of the Spectacular Spider-Man development team at WonderCon 2008 after a preview, screaming and stated, "This new spectacular, this new Spider-Man series is spectacular, surpasses all of the previous incarnations with ease. If you are a Spidey fan, you will not want to miss this." Early in the series run, Alan Kessler of Comic Mix called the series one of the best superhero adaptations I've ever seen. And trust me, I've watched more than anyone will probably consider reasonable. It's fun, it's smart, it's mature, it's witty, and every episode leaves me wanting more. Um, in an article entitled Eight Reasons to Watch Spectacular Spider-Man, Reggie White Jr. from Spider Fan wrote, in quote, "If you aren't watching the Spectacular Spider-Man on CW Kids WB, you are missing out on what is quickly becoming one of the greatest Spidey cartoons of all time." Stu from Marvel Animation Age writes in his review of the series, "At time of writing, the Spectacular Spider-Man stands as Marvel's finest animated effort and surpassed most of DC's finest efforts. The only shows in Spectacular's league really is Batman the Animated Series itself. With more episodes, it may just surpass it." IGN stated that Greg Wiseman has only cemented his reputation for quality television animation um, with his work on Spider Man. IGN also named the Spectacular Spider Man number 30 in the top 100 best animated TV shows in January 29. No, excuse me, 2009. The series was also awarded Best Animated Series in both 2008 and 2009, with the series version of the main character being named TV's Best Hero in 2008. Subsequently, it was placed second in the top 25 comic book TV shows in 2011, behind Batman the Animated Series. Outside of comic resources, Variety um, that although seemingly conceived largely to push a new line of Hasbro toys, um, the soon to fade fade out kids WB on the CW delivers a credible new version of Spider-Man, emphasizing his relatable headaches as a 16-year-old superhero. Okay. TV Guide listed the series as one of the 60 greatest animated series of all time. And its 2020 rankings, Treasure TV ranked the Spectacular Spider-Man as the 640th best TV series of all time. All right. All right. Hang on a minute here. All right. So listen. Um, you guys, if you like what you heard in today's episode, feel free to make a charitable donation to my Cash App, and of course, um, which is $ G Money Stacks 555. That's capital G, lowercase MONEY, capital S, lowercase TACKZ 555. Um, Once again, it's not about breaking the bank and having a lot of money. It's all about um, doing what you can, and whatever amount you decide to donate will be appreciated. You know what I'm saying? Also, um, Also, um, you don't need to have a lot of money to actually support somebody like myself. It's all about doing the best that you can, right? It's not about, you know, you don't have to stress yourself out. You know what I'm saying? So that's pretty much what I'm gonna say right there with the Cash App and stuff. And of course, the option, of course, Anchor, of course, you could also do that as well, depending on which one is suitable for you. So anyway, um, you can follow the show Meticulous Vibe Juice Podcast on Instagram alongside with the IGTV recordings that I just did. Make sure you watch them. And alongside with my other show, Excellent Fun Vibrant Podcast, the Sports Edition show. Um, Off the Meat Rat Chains New York podcast on Facebook and Instagram. Make sure you catch up on all the episodes on all three shows that I just mentioned. And of course, my primary handle on the gram, which is G Money Stacks 555 in Queens, New York. And make sure you turn on your notifications. It's very important that you turn on your notifications because you never know when I might go on Instagram Live to actually do a podcast recording. That way, you guys can actually get an idea of what topics and what review music artists and TV shows and movies or whatever that I'm going to be doing. Um, and yeah, and you can also follow me on 17 Live, which is G Money Stacks Queens, New York. And on top of that, we're gonna go over where you could listen to the show episodes. So here we go. Um all right. And make sure you subscribe to all the streaming platforms that now I'm going to mention. And by the way, for all of the people that's using Androids, you can download the podcast the tracker. It's pretty much similar to Apple Podcasts, which is for iPhone users and stuff. Um, that way you can actually be able to jot down where you can actually listen to the shows. And speaking of listening to the show, um, you can find um the show on Anchor, on Audible, Audacity, Amazon Music, Breaker, Castbox FM, Deezer, Listen Notes, and the newly added stream platform, which is Moon FM, which is another streaming platform for podcasts. Um, and you can also find the podcast on Player FM, Pocket Cast, Podfriend, Podo Polo, Podorama, Podcast Index, Podcast Addict, Podchaser, Reason FM, Spotify. Don't forget to rate. Don't forget to rate on Spotify, Podchaser, and Podfriend. Even though you don't have anything to say, it's all about doing what you can. It's all about doing what you can on whatever comment you want to talk about, whether it's the topics, reviews of certain things that I talked about. Um, a 5-star rating will be appreciated, and yeah. Um, we are on Stitcher, TuneIn Radio. Um, don't forget to listen to Meticulous Vibe Juice podcast review show on Google Podcasts. Radio podcast. No, excuse me, Radio Public, iHeartRadio, the number one app for music, radio, and podcast. And of course, last but not least, the YouTube. I want you to go ahead and grab the subscribe button and enable alerts along with the notification bell so you can be reminded of when the show goes in the air via live stream. And also stay tuned for more video content, upcoming episodes, previous episodes that were already recorded, which will be automatically um, uploaded and posted to the Meticulous Virtues podcast channel, YouTube channel page. Make sure you leave a like and a comment along with the episodes and the topics that was discussed. Download your favorite episodes. Make sure you share the videos on YouTube. Make sure you share the episodes on Anchor. Make sure you um, share it with a couple of people. Make sure you tell a friend to another friend. Um, Make sure you spread the word, and also make sure you spread the word and share the podcast along with the Linktree link that has Linktree/Meticulous Virtues podcast with your friends along with all the streaming platforms that I just mentioned. And yeah, there you have it right there, man. Yeah, and I'm not gonna get into too much of the mental health aspect and stuff. Um, of course, of course, as I always say at the end of the show, of course, you make sure you take care of yourself. Make sure you reach out to your wives, your husbands, your girlfriends, your boyfriends, your friends, and stuff like that. That way, you'll be able to show some compassion and empathy, because um, those individuals might be fine on the outside, but on the inside, it's not. They are not. So basically, um, you don't have to wait till Mental Health Awareness Month of May of each year, and of course, you don't have to wait till Mental Health Day to actually reach out to somebody. It's all about following your mind, your soul, and your heart alongside with your instincts, and being a risk taker. um of course, when you take a risk, sometimes you get rewarded, you know what I mean. um and yeah, that's about it on that one, man. And in my other show, Off the Meat Rat Chains New York podcast, I am going to actually touch base on eight dimensions on mental health, which is going to be in May. All right. So you guys want to stick around for that one. I will break down I will break it down, the eight elements behind the mental health of what a person is going through, and the levels behind it. So, um some free game, right? All right. With For those of you who have a dream of being a podcaster like myself, who has 3 podcast shows under my belt, listen, there's going to be some key important equipment that you need to start a podcast, all right? Um, and I'm going to give you some pointers on StreamYard in a sec. So, the first thing you need is headphones. The second thing you need is a microphone. Now, it doesn't have to be anything too expensive. It can be something simple. It can be a Yeti microphone that has a USB plug to go with your laptop. or it could be our Voxcon microphone that I'm using right now, which I bought from Target, not Amazon, folks. And and you don't have to waste a lot of money on fancy equipment to be professional and shit like that, because you no nobody said that a podcast has to be in a fancy studio that's so expensive. You don't need to do that. You could do it at your own home. You could do it at you can do it at your friend's house. You can do it in a garage or whatever. Um, but in this case, um, I just wanted to clear up a misconception. All right. For you guys that want to start a podcast. And also, if you have a unique name that you want to name your show, make sure it represents you and the meaning behind it and the story behind it and stuff like that. I know there's going to be a lot of people who may not understand the name of the show and stuff like that. So you guys are just you're gonna have to let success speak for itself, man. You know what I mean? That's basically what you gotta do, man. Don't worry about the fucking garbage burger haters, okay? From the hater mobile. Because what you want to do is picture them as food and you eat them up like this. Yeah, so I want to give you some pointers on StreamYard actually, which is one of the softwares that I am using with the YouTube channels of this channel right here, which is Meticulous Juice Podcast YouTube channel, G Money Stacks 555, and Excellent Fun Vibrant Podcast, the Sports Edition show, with StreamYard. It's basically a software where you are able to create banners and talking points, of course, websites, social media handles, and where people can follow your show and where can people follow your business ventures, whether it's a clothing line, jewelry line, whether it's a food, whether it's food, whatever it is, um, whatever it is, it will be it will be a lot easier for people to actually know about your business ventures and of course, for example, as you can see on the YouTube screen, you can see the name of the show right here. You can see the social media handles where you can follow the show as I put it right there. Um, and it allows you to create your own brand. And what I like about this is that you are allowed to actually, send invite links to people um, with emails, phone numbers, Instagram handles, whatever. Uh, also, with StreamYard, um, as a host, any individual who wants to be invited to the live stream, I will add you to the live stream, so that way you can actually see what I'm doing and actually talking about the topics, what is sports, what is whatever it is, and stuff like that, man. You know what I'm saying? Um, so yeah, there you have it right there, man. And also, um, and you know, don't be afraid to follow your dreams, your goals and dreams, okay? Because that's the very last thing you don't need in your life is the amount of stress from non-supporters and all that other shit. You don't need that in your life, man. And yeah, that was your and also You can check out the Anchor app by downloading the Anchor app on your iPhones, your Androids, your Android tablets, your iPads, your laptops and stuff, man. You know what I'm saying? Um, or you could check out the website anchor.fm so you can get yourself a head start where it features creation tools and other ways to add music intros, outros, sound effects. I mean, you just name it though, man. You know what I mean? Um, and yeah, and I hope you guys enjoyed episode 42 like I did. This was a dedication to the fact that Spider-Man No Way Home just came out last year and last month. So um I really hope you guys learned something and actually enjoyed this shit as I did creating content. And especially doing this from the comfort of my room. As you can see, I forgot to mention a little earlier that I have a ring light um, next to me, which is going to help with the the live stream recording. Next time I end up going back on 17 Live in the future, we'll see what happens. But anyway, man, that's gonna do it for me. I'm G Money Stacks. Thank you for tuning in, rocking with me, and hearing me out on some stuff. And there's gonna be more episodes, more music artists, more TV shows, more games, and hopefully I'll be able to review, podcast shows that I listen to. Um, and yeah, so I'm off this shit. Peace and one love. And I hope you guys be careful out there. Be mindful of the people that you surround yourself with, especially in taxi cabs, vans, subway trains, LARR, Metro North, Amtrak, transit buses, wherever you're living in, especially whatever state you're living in right now. Um, Make sure you wash your hands with your water and soap, your hand sanitizer, and also have your water along with the Gatorade for energy and strength for electrolytes. So there you have it right there, man. Yo, I'm out of here. I'm off this shit. Peace and one love. And enjoy the rest of your night. And I'll see you guys next time on the next episode of Meticulous Vibe Juice Podcast Review Show. Have yourself a good night. Hold on.